Man, what a time to be a sports fan in general. All my NFL guys, if you like basketball, it's time to talk about it. All my NBA fans, I did not forget about you, and today we're talking about Lakers Nuggets. Now, we saw the Suns and the Warriors last night, another good game which went down to the wire, but I got to talk about the Denver Nuggets and what they're doing. Before we get the video started, just drop a like. For basketball season being back, drop a like and drop down below in the comments, opening night, because that's something that we saw, and that's something that was very good just to have that back. We got some more basketball tonight. Victor Wembanyama, he's making his NBA debut. We're seeing some other teams around the association tonight, but the huge question, what you see by the title today, what do we think about the Denver Nuggets? Should the Denver Nuggets be early title favorites? Now, they won the title last year, of course, and I may be asking the obvious to some, but just those fans around the NBA. Should the Denver Nuggets be early title favorites based on their impressive win last night? Now, I want to talk about the totality of what they've done. Let's look at some things, because we talk about the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think it gets really talked about enough. Whoever is in that scouting department needs a raise, because with the Denver Nuggets, it's not like they've went. Now, you talk about Aaron Gordon, the guy who came over from the Orlando Magic, but we look at those other guys. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he was acquired as well, but those key guys, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., they're homegrown. We talk about Christian Braun, another guy. He's homegrown. He's in his second year coming out of Kansas. So I think about all of these things, and really, I feel like you've built the perfect offense. I think about some of the great offensive minds in the NBA today. We got a Mike Brown. We got a Mike Malone. We got a Steve Kerr. And seeing those types of offenses, this offense really fits into that category for me. Now, when I talked about why I love the Sacramento Kings offense, it's because of the free-flowing ability. It's because of playing with the pace like they do. Now, you have a guy in a De'Aaron Fox for that system, in a Stephen Curry for the Warriors, in a Jamal Murray for the Nuggets. You have a guy who can be ball dominant, but you have a lot of dribble handoffs. You have a lot of off-ball movement and a lot of pin-down screens. Seeing things like that in a system where you're not really getting into as much isolation sets. Now, of course, Jamal Murray, if they really need a bucket, they can go to that. If Nikola Jokic really has to get a bucket, he can get in the low post and get into an isolation. However, though, that's not their entire offense. And seeing the off-ball movement, how they really call it up, I think they have the perfect guys around, especially with the starting lineup. We can start with Jamal Murray. Like I said, a guy who on a lot of teams, he would be a number one. I think that it's time to have that conversation. He was drafted extremely high out of Kentucky, and I think about everything he can do. He can score at all three levels. He can shoot the three-pointer extremely well. A guy who put up 40 points in multiple games throughout the playoffs last year. We pay attention to all of that, and he can also get to the basket. So we have to think about a guy like that, and he's playing beside one of the best player in basketball right now, but one of the best big mans we've seen in this game. I talk about what can I really put my hand on when talking about Nikola Jokic, and I just don't want to throw a lazy comparison. I can't think of a guy that's an exact comparison to Nikola Jokic, from the IQ to the in-it passing ability to the three-point shot to the craftiness within the paint and the post-move scores. I can't think about a guy who has that package and makes it look like that. Now, this is a guy who just wants to ride horses. He just wants to go home. He comes over to the NBA. This is a part-time job for Nikola Jokic, so we're paying attention to all of that. And I think, okay, we look at a dynamic duo. We pay attention to that first. Now, Michael Porter Jr., a guy who just got his bag not too long ago. He's a shooter. I mean, thinking about what he was able to do. And like I said, we really give credit to the scouting department, because what was Michael Porter Jr.? Michael Porter Jr. was supposed to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft, but he had that back injury and teams were shaky. Nobody really knew, okay, is he going to fall out of the lottery? Is he still going to be a top 10 pick? And he went at number 14 to the Denver Nuggets. They took the flyer on him. They said, okay, even if we have to deal with him not being an instant contributor to the team, we still believe in this guy. And we think if and when he gets fully healthy, he's going to be what he is now. A guy who's extremely streaky from the three-point line. He went 2-9 last night, but we've seen him long enough and saw a lot of shooting splits to understand when he gets hot and when he gets going from the three-point line, he's catching the ball and he's not passing. He's Michael, the ball stops here, Porter Jr. So we have a guy like that, adding him into the scheme. And also, he can create his own shot. Like I said, he was supposed to be a top 3 pick. He can score at all 3 levels as well. So you pay attention to that on the wing. He's 6'9" to 6'10", has a lot of length that creates a shot advantage for him. But that it doesn't stop there, though. You look at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And I think last night, a lot of people will talk about Jamal Murray. A lot of people will talk about Nikola Jokic. Let's give some love to KCP. I think what he did last night does not deserve to go unnoticed because he was playing defense. He was shooting the three-pointer. We see this. He went 2 or 3 from the three-point line. We got to love that. And I think about everything he can bring to the team. He's the perfect piece to what you already have, but it doesn't stop there. We look at a 4 position and a guy who I want to applaud and really give him his own spotlight. That's Aaron Gordon. He's transformed his game. He's transformed his physique. Now, this is a guy who should have a slam dunk championship under his belt. It is debatable. Yes, it is debatable. We could talk about it in the comments. Zach LaVine, if he wasn't there that day, Aaron Gordon would be a slam dunk champion. But let's get out of that. We talk about that. And now, like I said, how he's changed his physique to be a guy who's a true power forward. And also, he's the perfect cutter and slasher for this basketball team. A guy who can play above the rim. And of course, what he brings to the defensive side of the ball. Now, what I think, and I could point to one play last night, LeBron James. The Los Angeles Lakers are down by 3. And Aaron Gordon is wide open because LeBron James leaves him open. He dares him to shoot the three-pointer because we've talked about this last year in the playoffs when I talked about the series between these two teams. And I said, when you're trying to guard Nikola Jokic, he's going to give you something. So it's depending on what you want to give up. Do you want to give up an open shot in the mid-range? Do you want to give up that pocket pass and let him get an open slasher to the rim? Or do you want to give up an Aaron Gordon 3? And I think that what they chose to give up was the Aaron Gordon 3. Now, Aaron Gordon is not the best three-point shooter, but seeing him working on that shot, consistently developing that shot, he hit one of those last night, and I pay attention to little things like that because I think it goes a long way into what this team can actually be. When we talk about the offensive potential, so like I said, they have perfect guys around Nikola Jokic. He's a superstar. I think he's the best basketball player in the NBA right now. We still got other guys, of course. We got Kevin Durant of the world. We got Anthony Davis, even though he didn't score in the second half. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think it's a lot of guys who can rival, but when you look at his body of work, what he did last year in the finals, and he went on a run, a gauntlet through the West, and he battled against every single big man. So I pay attention to that. Like I said, we talk about early favorites, and I know there's a lot of teams. It's really a gauntlet in the West and the East. We can go LA. We can go with the Clippers. We can go with the Sacramento Kings. We can go with the Golden State Warriors, the Phoenix Suns, who won a clutch game last night. And in the East, we can go Milwaukee. We can go Boston. We can go Miami, Cleveland, anyone you want to throw out there. There's a lot of good basketball teams this year, so I think it's the prime time to be a basketball fan. But talking about the Lakers, though, I think that we look at some things for them. And like I said, I already alluded to it and aforementioned, Anthony Davis did not score in the second half, has 6 shot attempts. I think you really want to see him be more assertive. When I think about Anthony Davis and LeBron James, it really seems to me, and this is a crazy analogy, but I think about a father who's trying to pass the torch to his son. LeBron is trying to leave the legacy for Anthony Davis, and he just won't let his hand go. He's saying, okay, son, I can give you everything you need to know. I can put you in position. They won a championship where LeBron was the best player on the team. We can say all of these things. I'm putting you in this position. And I'm getting old. I'm in year 21. Nobody wants to hear it, but LeBron will retire soon. So I'm putting you in that prime position. You're in the thick of your prime. I'm getting out of my career. So I've held your hand to this point, and I got to let go. But I think that Anthony Davis is the guy who we can go back to his high school career. He was at first a point guard. He had a major growth spurt. Now he's a big man. We look at all of the things with Kentucky, now coming into the NBA. He pried his way out of the New Orleans Pelicans. Now he's a Los Angeles Laker. Everything they gave up for him. And I think the conversation was when you get a guy like AD away from the New Orleans Pelicans, you're looking at it and saying, okay, we're going to have LeBron James, and he's going to be the guy on this team. But as he progresses out and out and out of his career, Anthony Davis, sure the guy who's being called upon. All you got to do is step into this catbird seat. You're a Batman now, and he has to be Robin. I don't think Anthony Davis has fulfilled his potential in answering that challenge because I know what he can be, and I think that he has a game like this, and then he goes out, give you 30, 12, and 5. He can do things like that. He can be a top 3 to 5 player in the NBA. So I don't want to get out of this and say that the Lakers can't compete with the Nuggets, but I think that in this first game, we did see some things. Now, Jarrett Vanderbilt did not play for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that it's going to be interesting to see. Do you keep Taurean Prince in the starting lineup for his shooting capabilities, or do you move Jarrett Vanderbilt into that starting lineup, move LeBron to the 3? And something I've been thinking about just with myself, I was thinking, maybe to get Austin Reeves more into his development, do we want to get him into that second unit and start a Taurean Prince at the 2, then we bring in a LeBron at the 3, and we can even play LeBron at the 2, and then we move Jared Vanderbilt once he gets healthy back into that starting lineup? That's a possibility I was thinking about, because when you got D'Lo, when you got AD and LeBron, you think about all the sets and how it's going to work. We got to get to Austin Reeves. He's a guy who just got his money, so he has some development within Team USA, but I think I'm looking at things from a defensive aspect, and he's just not the best defender. Still has to improve in that area. And we talk about Team USA. He was a guy who was getting picked on in Team USA. They found him and they spotted him out defensively. They saw something on film and they said, okay, this is a guy who we know we can score on the offensive side of the ball. So it's something you got to pay attention to. And I think also looking at some of these guys, Christian Wood got it and made a couple buckets, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, some of those key guys off the bench. And I thought that the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka, contrary to what some people were thinking prior to free agency, had a very good free agency, made some big-time moves. I really like getting Gabe Vincent. I really like getting Christian Wood. I like getting Jackson Hayes. I like what they've done to this point. But the question becomes, Darvin Ham, how are you going to work with these rotations, and when will you know which triggers to pull at certain moments in certain situations? When do you know, okay, maybe we need to move AD to the 4, get Jackson Hayes right here, okay, and maybe we need to get Christian Wood into the game and slide Jackson or slide AD still at that 5 position. So it's certain things like that, and I think that they'll figure it out with time. I like the moves that they made, and I think that this is a very good team. They lost last night. They started off extremely slow, made some runs, got back into the ball game, and then they stepped back on the pedal as in the Denver Nuggets, and they ended up winning the game. So overall, I think that we look at both sides of the spectrum. Even for the Denver Nuggets, Christian Brown coming off of the bench, he played 19 minutes. You got Najee. He's going to have to be that big man that comes into the rotation off of the bench and plays key minutes, especially when we get to playoff basketball. But it's still early, way too early to worry about those things. I'm looking at other guys, Peyton Watson. He came in and made a 3 early on in the first half, and Reggie Jackson. Big time game for him, and we know what he is. He is a big time player in those moments with the second unit. But overall, what do you think about last night's game? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm just happy that basketball is back. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Just like the video, because NBA is back. It's opening night. Victor Wembanyama is about to play tonight. We got NFL season. We got NBA season. We just talked about it all. It's no way, if you like sports, it's no way you don't like all of this. So thank you for watching as always. That's going to do it for today. And now, hold on, we not out just yet. Let me know down below in the comments. Comment opening night and comment, are the Denver Nuggets in a prime position to win the NBA title? Do they look like it thus far? Now, we out.